So in today's video, I will be editing this image that you can see here, and this beautiful girl, her name is Laura. I'll link her Instagram in the comments below if you want to go find her. So the idea of this image, I want to create something fashion inspired, something fine art, and something, more interesting. So here she's wearing a custom gown that I made, so you can only see the sleeves here, and I also made the crown that she's wearing. And I'm very happy with this image. This is one of her favorites, and I'm gonna edit, and I hope you guys enjoy it. So to begin with, I'm gonna start by using my skin toolkit, which is right here. I'm just gonna run, and immediately it creates this panel here with all these things that I will use to edit the image. So on the skin smoothing, I'm just gonna get closer, and it will do exactly as it says. It's gonna smooth the skin. So I'll set the opacity to 100 and flow to 10%. And I'm just gonna brush over to make sure her skin is smoothed out, like so. She has very nice skin, so there's not much that needs to be done other than just polishing it a little bit more. Okay, so I'm gonna put the grain and the texture above everything, and now I am going to create a layer above the skin smoothing, just like an empty layer, and I'm gonna be using the spot healing brush, and I'm just gonna remove those flyaways that are right here in her face. Now, if you use the spot healing brush and it's weird, it's probably because it's not set to sample all layers right here. So I always make sure it is set to content aware and also set sample all layers. So anything that the screen is visible, it's gonna be using as a reference. So just make sure those are ticked, and you're gonna be able to make it work. So just now polishing a few extra things. Now I'm gonna get this hair here on her eyebrow. And for things like this, the spot healing brush it's often like my favorite tool to use. Sometimes it's not great, but most of the time it works well. And like in this image, it worked pretty well. I don't need to remove this flyaway, but I just want because I can. So we're moving like that. There are no flyaways on her neck. I'm gonna leave that one in her neck. Alright, so this is how the image looks right now. Now I'm gonna use the Dodge and Burn single layer tool. For this, I need to use a brush, and I'm going to set the flow to 2% and opacity to 10. Notice that the flow may change, oscillate, between 2, 1, 10. It depends on where, where I'm working. But I think I'm gonna keep to 2%. So I'm gonna sample a brown tone here near to, the shadow, because I'm gonna be contouring her face. So just sampling something within, her skin tone. Like that. See, it's a bit too much. Set the tool set to black. Let's delete the whole thing. Instead of brown, I'm just gonna use black. So just slightly contour. I don't want it to have a very defined cheekbone, because she doesn't have it so defined. She has very angelic and delicate soft face. I just want to keep that. But it's good to use the contouring tool just so it enhances what's already there. So I'm gonna do the same on the other side and around here the forehead. Now I'm going to change to white just because I'm going to lighten certain areas on her face. So right here on her forehead, there are certain areas that need a little lightening. And here near her nose. I'm just trying to even out the skin a bit more. And I'll just click so you can see, you know, there's a subtle difference, but the difference is there. I think the good thing is when the difference is so subtle, but you know, it makes the difference. So that's why I think what makes the image look really good and professional. All right, so doing some here on her eye. Let's see her neck. And her hands, I'm just gonna lighten the fingers just a little bit, like that, just like contouring the fingers. The same for this side. I'm gonna increase the brush to 10% so it can be faster. Now the hair, I'm gonna go back to 2%, and if you see here, there are some highlights, so I'm just going over the highlights that are already there on her hair and just enhancing it. Okay, let me see before and after. All right, so I'll go back to the Dodge and Burn in a second, but now I'm going to go to Color Fix. Color Fix, it fixes the unevenness of, you know, with skin tone. So if you see here on her, next to her nose, there's like this yellow, and then there's a little bit more darker here. So what I'll do, I pick a brush, and then I'll set the flow to 20% and the opacity to 20% as well. That's where I normally start, and then I just pick a color that I want to change, and then I slightly brush over like that. If I don't see a lot of difference, then I increase. So now I'm going to flow 50%. Let's do opacity 50% as well. So now 50. Oh yeah, now I can see the difference. I'm going to change the opacity to 30. All right, so I'm just correcting here next to her nose. Oh, that was too much. You see, I don't know if you guys can see. Let me invert so you can see the areas where I worked. So it's very subtle, but there is some change. You can see on, if you see, check here, her eyes, you know, it turns a little bit more yellow. All right, so above this layer here, I'm gonna run another Dodge and Burn single layer right here. So I'm gonna be adding more definition to her makeup. So now I'm gonna start by just adding some filler here on her eyebrows. Now under her lip as well, just to make it look like more plump. And I'm gonna alternate with the highlight as well. So now I'm gonna add some highlight here on her Cupid's bow. And on this bottom part of her lip. And I'm also going to select a color of her lip, the darkest color, and just going to paint over around the areas just to give a little bit more color to make it more alive. So you can see here the subtle difference. So now I'm going to get the white brush again and just going to add the highlights where I want some, enhance some highlights that, you know, it's already there on her face, but I want it to make it pop a little bit more, if that makes sense. So I'm using the dark shading, you know, I'm just using contouring. I'm just enhancing the darkness of her hair so it makes the highlights pop. And then here you can see the difference. And here you can see the before and after completely. Alright, so now I'm happy with the image. I'm going to turn on the grain, just add a little grain. And let me see if I need to add any texture. I'm going to add some HD texture on her lip. So I'm just going to paint over here with my white brush. So this is how it looks. So I just painted this area here. So her lips are more defined. Let me get close so you can see. There's a little bit more definition. Alright, so now I'm going to desaturate a little bit of the yellow on her crowns. For this, I will use the hue and saturation. Let me put it above. I'm going to close this. Alright, so here I will select, actually I'm going to use this hand. I'm just going to click. I'm sure it's yellow. It is yellow, so if I drag down, the opacity completely goes away. But also, you know, if I drag up, you can see where the yellow is on her, you know, all the image. But I don't want to remove the yellow from her face completely. So I'm just going to saturate it down like this. You know, I think it looks pretty nice. Actually, I like it without the saturation on her face. But I'm just going to bring back some of the saturation. And for this, I'm going to set my opacity to 100 and flow to 100. And since the layer is set to white, I'm going to pick a black brush so I can paint over. This is what happens if I paint over. So I'm going to leave that one like that just because I want to bring the saturation here to her dress. And now I'm going to set the flow to 10% just to slightly bring some yellow to her face, but ever so slightly. All right, this is pretty much the final result. That's the finished image. And now I'm going to color grade the image. I'm going to change the color a little bit. And this is the setting that I normally use the most for my images. I do like adding some warm shadows to my images. So I like putting a little bit of red, a little bit of yellow, and the highlights, I like it to be a little bit of blue and a little bit of sometimes yellow, sometimes blue. It really depends. I think I'm going to go with a more paler version like this. Then midtones here, just let's see. It's really, it's a playing game. So you do whatever you feel most comfortable with the color grading. I like the image to be warm most of the time, and there's not a rule that I normally follow. It's an eye thing. So if I like it, you know, if I like this, I'll stop and yeah, you know, I'll save the image like that. So let me see what I'm doing here. Actually, I like the image like this. See, there's a subtle difference, but it does make the image pop. So this is the finished image. This is how it looks. This is the before, this is the after. I'm going to zoom in close. This is the after, this is the before, this is the after, and this is the finished image. If you are interested to buy my scan toolkit, you can find that on my website, which is linked on the comments here, comment section below. Just look for the link and follow. Otherwise, you can just type. Let me type it here so you can type it as well. Because most people ask me, but you know, it's right there. So this is the link to my store. Let's pick a font here. And I couldn't spell. All right. So this is the link to my store. So you can go to my store, rmontagnini.com/store, and you can find the editing tools that I just used to edit her skin that I created here in my action. If you have any questions, if you like the video, please leave a comment in the comments section, and please share with everybody that enjoys retouching photography with your friends, and give this video a thumbs up. Alright guys, I hope you have a wonderful day, and I'll see you on the next video. Bye bye.